Good morning, everyone. I'm Associate Professor Dr. Chu from Clinical Research Unit HPUPM, and welcome to this Meta Journal Hours. This is the series number 6, and the purpose of this, for those who have just joined us and not before, is to cultivate a culture of reading papers and not just reading at the superficial level, but actually in depth. And what we are trying to do, we cannot be exhaustive as very deep into appraising the paper because we just have like 1 to 1.5 hours. What we are trying to do here is to cultivate the kind of culture to look at the methods and then to appreciate the findings. And most of the papers that we have chosen are those very interesting papers. And for this paper in particular, I can see and foresee the futures of virtual survey, online survey. So let's look at how this study was conducted, because in the abstract, you could actually see that the sample size was actually quite good that they have achieved. So it's a compliments, it's a congratulations to the authors, investigators, who they are our colleagues in UPM, that they have achieved more than 1,000 of patients within that 2 or 3 months period. So this paper would be very good for us to look into it, see how they did it, and to apply it, whatever that they have done, good practice, not so good practice, surely you'll find some of that lessons and learning points and something good to learn from, to apply in our future online survey and virtual study. Okay, and after we have cleared that on the methods part, then you want to learn what's happening during MCO. And from the title itself, you can tell that you are going to focus on what kind of lifestyle behaviors and what are the body weight changes, isn't it? But the study actually provided more than that. And you want to understand the results founded on the methods. Okay, so if you are ready, then I would like to then invite our research officer, Puan Savana, to walk through us walk through us the paper, see how they conducted it, and then we can discuss from there what are the good points and what are the lessons that we can learn from it. And if we are lucky enough, the senior author, the corresponding author, may join us later. Then we can pose more challenging questions to her. Okay, so stay with us. Savana, over to you.
All right. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, clear.
All right. Can you see my presentation here?
Yes, very good.
Okay, all right. Today is the MGH6, Critical Appraisal of Scientific Literature. I'm Salwana from CRU, HPUPM. The title of our paper today is The Impact of MCO in Malaysia on the lifestyle behavior and body weight changes, and the author named the study as My NutriLife COVID-19 online survey done by a researcher from UPM in published in 2022, just in January. All right. All right, this is the critical appraisal objective. So for this paper, we want to see the current updates in COVID-19 emergence. We want to understand the quality of the study and the reporting study quality, to review importance consideration for deciding whether to include cross-sectional study to assess the benefit and harms, to establish relevant of research to practice, and finally to critically analyze statistical relevance of research paper to our own practice. Okay, before we start, I would like to address the clinical question. Normally for clinical trial or medical research, they will include the PICO, but for this one, since I is for intervention, I changed to PECO. So before we go further, we would like to understand what is the paper all about. So the question might be, or stated there, are changes in lifestyle behavior associated with body changes during pandemic COVID-19 MCO among Malaysian adults. So I extract all the information from the question into the PICO. So the P population is Malaysian adults in pandemic COVID-19 MCO, and the exposure that they receive, we want to know changes in lifestyle behavior, including eating pattern, physical activities, and sleeping pattern. Comparing, in this study, the author did not compare to any groups like age or gender, so I just leave it. And we want to see the outcome. Are these changes in lifestyle behavior change their body weight? So why we would like to extract this kind of information from the question? Because we want to ensure that the importance, objective of the study being addressed and we don't miss anything. All right, next. Introduction of the study. The coronavirus COVID-19 is caused by a novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2, and it was declared as global pandemic by WHO on March 18, 2020 due to widespreading throughout the world. And obesity is a major risk factor for severe COVID infection, and obese individuals demonstrated a higher risk for COVID-19 positive and high for hospitalization and high admission to ICU and also death. So in Malaysia, first cases was recorded on January 25, 2020, and the government announced the MCO on March 18, 2020, and extended to May 4, 2020. And we have a series of MCO lockdown. Yeah, early studies earlier study from other study in Spanish and Mexico, they show that prolonged home confinement or lockdown is associated with changes in food consumption, especially meal patterns. They change their meals, lower level of physical activities, and increased sedentary behavior. So I think all of you know this one, because when you stay at home, you have less interaction with people, and you don't go outside for buying food, so you cook food. So you cannot go out for physical activities, and most of the time you get more sleeps, or you go for internet, at your laptop or watching TV. So it increases your sedentary behavior. So all of this pattern, stay at home, it can be stressful to some of the people, because they can get over or under eating. They get negative emotion, like some of the people, they feel fear, or they got anxiety, and all of this it leads to the negative impact on overall sleep quality. So to cover all of these issues, the author of this study, they put in the objective of the study, number one is to determine the lifestyle behavior during the lockdown, and secondly, to assess whether all of these lifestyle behaviors are associated with body weight changes. So this is the summary of the methodology done by the researcher. The study design, they use cross-sectional online survey. They name it as My Nutri-Life COVID-19. So I found out that this study is analytic observational. It's not descriptive only, but they try to find the association between all of the parameters they measured. The study population, it includes Malaysian, male and female, multiracial, Indian, Chinese, and Malay, age 18 years old and above, and is voluntary basis. So it is a single cohort, means that no comparison between groups such as age or gender. So they pull everyone in the same study or survey. So duration is roughly around 1.5 months, April 21 to June 7, 2020. And data collection was done by email. So they give all the respondents the questionnaire, a set of questionnaire through emails, social media, through their Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and personal networks of respondents. So all of the question, the researcher did the pretest to ensure clarity and ease of understanding. So sampling frame of the respondent, they use non-probability sampling, where they use convenience samplings. To those who didn't know that what is convenient, is actually by inviting one-to-one by mouth. So you ask your friends to join the survey, please join this, please join this. It's not by you get them from a registry or by a group. No, it's by mouth. So like this one, you see they invite the participant or respondent to Facebook, Instagram, so it's all open. Yeah. So for inclusion criteria, it did not apply for this study. For the measurement of outcome, they used a self-administered questionnaire, which all the respondents will answer themselves, available in 3 languages. So it covers the socio-demographic characteristic, body weight status, disease history, and lifestyle habits like eating pattern, physical activity, and sleep quality. So all this study is approved by the Ethics Committee UPM. And for this study, it doesn't mention the sample size calculation. However, it mentioned that all of the respondents were 1,319. All right, for statistical analysis, it used analytical method. It included categorical variable where they presented the data in frequency and percentage. It also include the continuous variable and the data presented in mean and standard deviation. So other inferential statistics also were used in this study, which are chi-square tests, where they use it to determine the association between the lifestyle behavior and body weight changes. They also use MGLMM, multi-generalized linear mixed model, to see the association, to determine the association between lifestyle and body weight changes during MCO. And they put also random effect, which were in study sites and respondent. And also they have stated in their study that they have potential confounding factor that were age, sex, ethnicity, and BMI categories before MCO. The data from the multi-variable model were presented as a ratio or probability and the 95% of confidence interval. For sample size calculation, it doesn't, in the paper, there is no sample size calculation presented. All right, for the questionnaire, it contains 5 parts. The first part is characteristic of the respondent. Second part is anthropometric information. The third one is physical activity, sleep pattern, and last one is eating pattern. So for the characteristic of the respondent, it's actually it contains normal standard information that we ask to our respondent, like age, ethnicity, sex, educational level, marital status, and so on. So they also include the assessment about the disease history of the respondent, type of the disease, and if any of the respondent join weight management strategies from outside. So the second part, they would like to know the anthropometric information like BMI. So they measure the height, body weight, BMI, and body weight changes before MCO and during MCO. So this is the questionnaire. The third one is the physical activity. They put the question to assess if the respondent perform any physical activities or exercise for at least 30 minutes during MCO. And they ask also the question about changes in pattern of exercise or physical activities during MCO. So for sleep pattern, they use a validated questionnaire from Germany, if I'm not mistaken, and it's been validated in Malaysia in Malay and Chinese and Indian language. So it's called PSQI, Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, and it measures sleep duration, sleep latency, and overall sleep quality. So the last one is about eating pattern. This one, the researcher developed by themselves a set of questions to identify changes of eating pattern during MCO. So it's contained 4 parts. The first part, they want to see the changes behavior of eating pattern before and during MCO. Second one is they would like to know if the respondent consume any home cook or from outside, home cook meal or meal from outside, like from stall, from coffee shop or other food stall, or either they bought through food delivery like Foodpanda, like Grab. And also they would like to know if the respondent practicing healthier cooking methods and practice suku-suku separuh. The third one is food group consumption, including types of fruit that being consumed by the respondent, like carbo, protein or sugar, high-fat food, and so on. So the last one, the researcher also asked about the main meal consumption, including breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as snacking between main meal consumption. So the question about all of this one, normally we ask about validity and reliability of measurement, and later we will discuss about this.
Sawana,
Yeah.
If I were to ask you how many items altogether, would you be able to roughly guess How many items altogether in the questionnaire?
I'm not sure about that, but I list, I didn't get all the numbers, but all of the question parts are, I put here on. So 5 parts, including the characteristic, anthropometric, physical, and sleep and eating. 5 part, but I didn't get all of the number of question.
Would it total up to about 100 items or even near to 100 items or more?
I'm not sure about that, Prof.
Okay. Because I did know a friend who actually participated in the questionnaire, and the response to me was that it's very long. But of course,
Oh,
it's just like
okay.
1 or 2 person.
Okay.
And the issue when it's long, they at the end of it, they may feel like they just want to quickly finish it rather than giving a correct answer, that kind of thing.
Okay. So I think normally for eating pattern, Prof, they have a set of long questionnaire normally, but I didn't get a chance to see the questionnaire from this study. So maybe later on we can ask Prof Chan about that.
Sure. Okay.
All right. About the result, I highlight few of important things from the study. The number one is body weight changes during MCO.
Sorry, Savannah.
Yeah.
Before that, probably it's informative to share the limitation and strengths of the study as reported, as declared by the authors. If you
I
could
put
go
Yeah,
to
I
the
put
slide.
in the later slide, Prof. We can later on we can go through the slide about the limitation.
Can we see that slide first? Then we
Okay,
see the
sure,
result
sure.
so they have a better picture.
Okay, right. All right. In this study, the researcher put the limitation. They stated the limitation in the paper. So the information on anthropometric data and lifestyle behavior was self-reported by the respondent. It means that the body weight before the MCO is all by the participant respondent put by themselves, is not measured by the researcher. So this, which may be subjected to recall bias. So the timing of self-reported weight was not specified. So however, the author of the paper put a proven other paper evidence say that demonstrated good agreement between self-reported and direct anthropometric measurement. So other researcher has proved that the evidence between comparison between self-reported body weight before MCO and after MCO for this research has a great agreement. So second one is the causal relationship between lifestyle behavior and body weight changes could not be determined due to the cross-sectional design of the study. So actually in cross-sectional study is capture a very short period of time. So due to that, temporal relationship between exposure and outcome cannot be assessed. So we name it as temporal witness. So association does not necessarily imply causation because no consistent result were not replicated by different researcher or in different places or circumstances or different time. And it's also not specific. The behavior changes is not associated directly with COVID-19. So we're not sure about the respondent, either they have the COVID, real COVID or not. And no information on temporal sequence of the event. So if you see the Rothman pi, I support here by Rothman pi rules. If you have sufficient cause of the condition and if you have component cause of the condition, it may cause a causal relationship between lifestyle and body weight changes. But it's like a missing somewhere in between so that you cannot put direct relationship between lifestyle behavior and body weight changes. Number three, the author put there that the convenience sampling method used in the present study may lead to selection bias, and I think it's true because data set often can be biased because you allow the person to choose whether or not she or he is sample. So you just ask, well, what you want to join our research study or not, and he has a full reason to join or not to join. So number two, no exclusion criteria mentioned in the study, so it's also causing selection bias. All right. Prof, do you have any additional information about the limitation? You want to comment?
Do you have any other slide on this?
No, only this one.
Okay. Right, so it's okay. I mean, you bear all this in mind, and then when Savannah present the result, yeah, see how much you can get out of the results. Okay, and feel free to comment on anything or to ask anything. Yeah, so we can discuss.
And for the result, the first part, about body weight changes during MCO, the authors get all the respondents' body weight before MCO, which this is the average percentage of everyone based on their group, BMI group. Normal weight is around 44%, underweight is around 7%, and overweight is around 25%, and obesity is around 12%. And the findings show that during the MCO, some of the respondents gain their weight. Like for this group, normal group, it's actually a not a bad result. It's actually um, not good to the respondent, because from normal group, normal BMI, they have gained their weight during MCO. So 30% of the respondent gain their weight. Group respondent from overweight group, 90% has gained their weight, and respondent from obese group, 20.7% gain their weight. So also during the MCO, people from respondent from normal group, they had decreased their weight around people around 29%, and overweight group 36%, and from obese group is 50.3% has decreased. So for
Maybe you want to imagine, if you received the online survey, so the investigator actually asked us, what was your weight, before MCO? And then another questions would be asking us, what is your weight now during MCO? And then the investigator actually analyze, see whether there's a gain in weight or there's a decrease in weight during MCO, comparing to your weight before MCO. Is that correct from the paper?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So the survey form will actually ask us to put in two weight, at least two weight. One is, like if I imagine what was my weight before the MCO period, right? It was surveyed. And then what's your weight now? That kind of thing. So bear that in mind, so though the author was arguing that this self-report of weight should be more or less acceptable according to the other studies, that they say, it's not too bad. It should be acceptably, reasonably accurate. So you have to understand that, and if you can get over this, then this result is applicable to you lah. How much you can believe lah. Okay. So does the result make sense?
To me, it makes sense. But there are some other things that we need to account into the results. So maybe later on we can see what is all the things that contribute to this result. Yeah, Prof?
But I got one question, why the weight change here? The investigator reported two different variables. Weight change, like the second line, you put it out here and also in the paper, gain weight and decrease weight. Because weight change itself is one sufficient variable. Because you can see here, underweight, there are two here. Normal, there are two here. Overweight, there are two here. Obese, there are two here. So which one is correct?
Sorry, Prof, again, you refer to the which one? Gain weight or decrease weight?
Both the weight change, both the weight change here are reported during MCO. One is gain weight, one is decreased weight. But we are seeing here, there are similar sub-variables here. So which one is the one that we want to understand and apply?
Actually, both were correct, Prof. For example, for normal group, some of them 30% they had gained their weight, and for normal group, some of them 29% decreased their weight. So both data are actually correct here.
I mean, these are two subgroup or one big same group? Are
One
they
big
from
same
the same
group.
group?
Yeah, same group.
Same group. Why are they analyzed twice?
Actually, from what I understand, it's actually from one analysis done, but they extract the data like this one. So they later on they put in different group. One is gain weight, one is decreased weight, and the other one is normal weight, meaning that no change. But I just put here is gain weight and decreased weight. I didn't report the no decrease, no changes weight.
Because I look at the supplementary data set that is shared as requested by the journal, right? There are only two weight requested in the survey. One is before MCO, one is after MCO, during MCO. So I still puzzle why because weight change, you analyze a weight change, so you will have the same underweight, normal weight, overweight, and obesity. But I don't quite understand. If any one of you could make me understand, is that why are there two variables being derived by minus the weight during MCO from before MCO, right? So you get one new variable, but there are two here. The investigator wanted to show there are two here. If you analyze, like, you minus the weight during MCO from the before MCO, you will get underweight. Underweight is already like decrease in weight, isn't it? You lose weight, isn't it? Or this is the BMI.
Yeah, this one is BMI.
Even you calculate the BMI, then you can tell. I mean, the same information will appear, isn't it? Or let's say if I ask you what was the formula for them to come out with the gain weight, and what is the formula they use to come out with the decreased weight?
Actually, they refer to the BMI only for this one, Prof. Let me check. It's only refer to BMI.
What I get from the papers, I'm not clear lah. Any one of you are clear?
Prof.
Yes, Nurul, Iman?
I think these two variables, which is gain weight during MCO and decrease weight during MCO, is referring to the prior to MCO weight. So which means that those who before MCO were underweight and then they gain weight during MCO is around 46%. But if they are underweight prior to MCO and then they decrease weight during MCO were 11%. That's what I understood lah. Which
Come
means
again, sorry, come again.
I think they are referring these variables to the weight prior to MCO, before the MCO weight, which means that this underweight is the category of BMI before the MCO.
Yes, yeah.
If you look at the table on the paper table 2, they are referring on the weight before MCO. This category is BMI category is the weight before MCO category.
But it's written here gain weight during MCO, right?
Yeah. So gain weight during MCO from the respondent from the group underweight prior to MCO, they have gain weight
Yes.
around 46.3%. Yeah.
So this BMI category is BMI category prior to MCO. Just
Yeah.
before MCO BMI category.
Then that's the first one, right? Prior to MCO, I understand. The study sample have this normal weight 54.7%, underweight 7.8%, all that. And then they have this gain weight during MCO. What is the formula, do you think?
I think they
You also
just
based on
BMI only.
But gain weight meaning it's a weight change, isn't it?
Yeah,
So they
yes.
must be the weight during
minus.
MCO minus
Yeah,
prior MCO, right?
yeah. That's what I understand from the paper.
Then how about the third one, decreased weight during MCO? What's the formula?
The formula is same. They just extract the data from the formula. They just separate the information into two groups: gain weights or decreased weight or no changes. So after they minus BMI
Minus, then you should get the only same result, why there are two different results here? We are using the same formula.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean?
You understand.
Weight during MCO
Because
minus weight prior MCO. Then why are
okay, because you see, for the respondent, the total respondent that gain weight during MCO is 405, and decreased weight during MCO is 4 to 5. It's actually half and half. It's actually, this data is extracted from one big population, same population, but it's being separated by the group gain weight or decrease weight. So in the gain weight group, it also have an underweight respondent, and for decreased weight also have the respondent that in the underweight group. So it's actually the same group but different respondent. You got what I mean, Prof?
Oh, they are the same respondent. Why they
No,
are
it's not
different
the same
respondents?
respondent. It is the same big pool respondent, but different respondent for this one, and different respondent for this one.
Okay. Maybe
Some of the underweight respondent in underweight groups, they gain weight, and some of the respondent in underweight group, they had decreased their weight. It's actually like that. Do you get that, Prof?
not really. Never mind. I think you go ahead and see whether we can understand from others.
Okay. All right, I'll go for the BMI categories changes. And from the changes, attained normal BMI from the group, from the respondent from group underweight is 14.8%, and overweight 9.5%. Became overweight from the normal group prior to MCO, so 4.5% became overweight, and obesity group 13.8% became overweight, and from became underweight from the normal group 1.5%, and became obesity from respondent from the overweight group 4.6%.
So this is only one variable about the changes lah.
Yeah.
Do all this added up to 100%?
Supposedly 100%, but I didn't mention here for no changes group.
No changes group, there are more lah.
Yeah. Okay.
The majority did not change in their weight lah.
All right. For the eating pattern results from the analysis, the researcher found that no significant association between eating pattern with body weight changes during MCO, and they reported that amongst respondents who reported having lost weight, they managed their weight around 68%, practice healthier eating around 38%, and have more physical activities 41%, and had better sleep quality around 37%. Respondents who lose weight versus gain weight tend to practice healthier cooking method. They comply suku-suku separuh, and they have frequent lunch. So respondent who gain weight versus lose weight is higher in percentage of ordering outside food. They consume dry sugar, sweet beverages. They consume fried or high-fat foods, and they consume sweet, high sugary food, and also they have frequent snacking. So from this result, we know that if we want to lose weight, we must practice healthy eating, more physical activities, and have better sleep quality instead of eating more sugary sweet fruit or beverages, high fat food, and we should cook our food by ourselves.
Sawana,
Yeah.
why is the first statement no significant association between eating pattern and body weight changes? But then there are also other significant associations.
Sorry, Prof. You asked about
your this table.
Mm-hmm.
Why the first association wasn't there between the eating pattern and weight changes? But
Okay.
then when you look into subcategory,
Mm-hmm.
and there are actually significant associations.
Okay, actually they conclude all of these three between eating patterns, all of these three, they compute comparison with the weight changes, is actually no association. Although all of the subcomponents, they have association, have good result, but when you combine all of these three, practice, cooking method, and so on, it is no significant association. Yeah.
Okay, so this is subgroup analysis lah.
Yeah. For subgroup, yes, but for all, when they combine together, no significant association.
Okay.
All right. And for the third one is no significant association between duration of actual sleep at night and overall sleep quality with body weight changes during MCO. From the result, it's shown that more respondents had 6 to 7 hours actual sleep at night, like 53%, with average sleep latency around 32, and fairly good sleep quality around 58%. So respondents who lose weight versus gain weight, normally they have very poor sleep latency. So it means that so respondents who lose weight, normally they have poor quality of sleep quality. Quality of sleep. So if you have problem with your sleeping pattern, so you better watch out because it might give effect to your weight changes. And last one, the researcher didn't mention any association, but they reported that 76% of respondents perform physical activities more than 30 minutes per day at least 5 days per week during MCO. And respondents who lose weight, they tend to perform physical activities at least 30 minutes following recommendation. Any question?
The one thing that you want to always ask yourself is whether all these results are making sense lah. And to a large extent, they are, isn't it?
Yeah. Can we move to next slide?
Is there any questions from the participants?
All right. No question, yeah? All right. I move to next result. The authors mentioned there is significant association between lifestyle behavior and body weight changes during MCO. And this one, they made some adjustment for confounding variables, namely age, sex, ethnicity, and BMI category before MCO. To those who are not familiar with these confounding variables, it's actually other things, parameter around this respondent that might have a certain effect to the respondent, like age. You know, certain age, different age level, they have practice different lifestyle behavior, you know, different sets like male and female, they also have different lifestyle behaviors, sleep like eating pattern, sleep pattern, yeah. Ethnicity among Malay, Chinese, and Indian, of course, they have different lifestyle behavior. And BMI category before MCO, they want to compare this one, but they put confounding variables at least to adjust to see all of these confounding factor, how it affect the parameter here. So from the result, yes, there is significant association between all these lifestyle behavior and body weight changes. So the researcher put all of the result here. So I summarized some of them. So if you see, if the respondent practice suku-suku separuh, quarter-quarter half, they skip lunch, and then they have frequent physical activities, so they tend to have weight loss. So respondent who never practice suku-suku separuh, they tend to less likely to lose weight. Respondent who never consume lunch, they're more likely to lose weight. And to the respondent who are practice physical activities at least 30 minutes per day for at least 5 days per week, they also have a higher probability of weight loss. So respondent who practice healthy cooking, consume lunch less frequently, were associated with higher odds, higher probability of weight gain. And then respondent who consume fried or high fat food less frequently So they were less likely to gain weight. And to respondents who perform or practice physical activities at least 30 minutes per day for at least 5 days per week, they have reduced the odds of weight gain by 45%. And to respondents that have good sleep latency were less likely to gain weight as compared to those with average sleep latency.
Sawana, maybe you can show the table in the paper. The table that show this GLMM.
This one, Prof?
Maybe it's still coming. Not yet seen.
I shared already.
So I think you need to unshare the current one and then reshare again. I think that's also happened with the Zoom or that. Yeah. Because we may see the same issue coming out again. Yeah. Enlarge a bit if you can. Yeah. So this is association between lifestyle behaviors and body weight changes, right, during MCO. So you can see here there are many variables on the screen on our left. So these are all the covariates, and they want to see which of one of these factors could be the predictors, single predictors on the weight changes during MCO, right?
Yeah.
So again, you can see there are two outcome variable here. Seemingly there are two, but I believe they conduct their modeling one at a time. Yeah, if you have two outcomes at the same time, so that is that's bivariate modeling, which is very rare in health sciences study. So usually we are just using one outcome variable in the modeling. So I believe there are two analysis strategy, one with a decreased weight, one with the increased weight
Yeah.
Decreased weight gain and increased weight gain. So again, my same question is why is there two different outcome variable here? If the weight change, there's only there can be only one weight change for every individual. Like for me before MCO and during MCO kan, because I look at the data set, investigator requested only 2 weight from me. I self-report my before MCO, probably I say 60 kilo, and during MCO probably now 65 kilo. So if the formula to calculate the weight change is during MCO minus before MCO, so if this is a plus, for me it's a plus 5 kilo, so there's a weight gain lah. If there's a minus, so there's a decrease in weight. I lose weight. But I still puzzle why there are two outcome variable here lah. If let's say you take it as different variable, then another challenging interpretation will comes out. For every same covariate or predictor here, there are two odds ratio, and the two odd ratio here are actually in the same direction. Let's say you look at the first one, ordering foods and drinks through food delivery apps, and comparing to every day, those who order food 4 to 6 times per week have the odds of 3.65 times experiencing a decrease in weight. But at the same time, experiencing 1.45 times increase in weight. So is it conflicting or do
The result,
I don't understand
the
something.
result was conflicting.
But it cannot be conflicting, no. Probably you don't understand something, probably the reporting isn't clear. If any one of you could enlighten us, maybe because the paper itself isn't very clear why is it so, isn't it? And at the same time, you have the same odds ratio, higher odds ratio of decrease in weight and also increase in weight.
Prof, from what I understand from the table, for this one is actually for some of the respondent, and this one for some of the respondent. That's why they got two results here, Prof.
So you're saying these are the two subpopulation from the study.
Yeah, one big pool
Okay.
population, but they have some of them decrease, and some of them increase. This is what I understand, but
So
I'm not sure. But I'm not sure if the table presented here was correct or not. But I understand like that.
So there's insufficient details. If you're saying this decrease in weight and increase in weight, increase in weight, these two outcomes were for two different samples, two separate samples from the large study samples. Then my next query would be, what is the comparator for the outcome of decrease in weight? Decrease in weight compared to normal weight or compared to increase in weight? And the increase in weight one, what is the comparator? Compared to normal weight or compared to decrease in weight? If you say increase in weight compared to decrease in weight, then they are the same, you know, they overlap already. So one thing to make this table clearer is to put the number total n here lah. Decrease here, yeah, you can imagine decrease here, or the weight changes during MCO, and how many were included in this modeling, and then in the column decrease and how many, increase one and how many, then it's clear that whether this is subpopulations of the study samples or was it from the whole populations.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Prof Chan is here to answer. Okay, but anyway, we shouldn't be expecting authors in our MJH, and the paper has to be comprehensive enough for us to understand. Yeah. So you get what I mean? I couldn't actually understand. Maybe I'm not, clear enough reading the papers. But having these two, at the same time, you have a higher odds of decrease and higher odds of the increase as well at the same time. So it actually really hit me lah. Huh? And the other one, you can more comments. If you want increase, one decrease, then why you need to do the same redundant, that kind of thing. Yeah. If you say the odds of having decrease in weight is high, and then the odds of increase in weight will be low, then why you need to report two kind of a similar but mirroring result? So I probably think the investigator has some purpose showing two different modeling. These two increase and decrease in weight, if as you understood Savannah correctly, is two different separate populations from the study samples. And you want to see those who experience increase in weight, what are the predictors? And those who experience decrease in weight, what are the predictors lah? So there are two different populations. And if that is so, then the comparator will be, who are they? The comparator is likely to be all the others. If you say the outcome variable decrease in weight, then the comparators can be, it's not clear here, can be normal weight, meaning no weight change, or the increase in weight. So they lump that as comparator to look at what are the predictors for decrease in weight. Done. If that is so, you know what I mean, there's overlap already. So these two, we thought there are two separate subpopulations, but because the comparators are overlapping, isn't that going to be, similar results going to be seen?
I'm not sure about that, Prof. Too advanced for me, perhaps.
Okay.
Right.
So if you scroll down here, this table, any result that's that caught your attentions?
I report on the significance one with the star here. it's actually reflect the result saying that practice suku-suku separuh, practice healthy eating is actually significant as what we practiced previously and suggested by the government. That one.
But there are actually quite numbers of not so making sense result also. If you, let's say you see the practicing healthy eating concept quarter separuh, if you are doing that every day, is that healthier or not from comparing to those less than every day? It should be healthier or not? Not necessary. Someone can take a keto diet, is it? Or full vegetables, vegetarian, that kind of thing. So there will be not quarter separuh already. Yeah.
Yeah, not
Okay.
enough.
Let's say we go to another one. Let's say consuming fried and high fat foods. So every day it should be the worst lah. Kan?
Yep.
So to have doing that compared to those who are taking every day, those who are taking less is healthier.
Yes, this one is
It's
one.
healthier, then they should have higher odds of decrease in weight lah.
Yeah, this one is decrease. Yeah, this one is one.
So these are making sense lah.
Yeah, this
So
one
they
is
don't reach the
sense.
statistical significance lah. Yeah.
Yeah, for this one.
But you see the one next to it, consuming high fried and high fat foods, comparing to taking every day, and those who were consuming fried and high fat foods 1 to 3 times a day, they have a lower odds of increase in weight.
Yeah.
The rightmost column, right? So does this make sense?
Increase, not make sense. Possibly yes, increase.
Does not make sense, right?
Yeah, makes sense for increase body weight. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe there are too many modeling. Sometimes you are doing too many modeling, so you want to be careful. Sometimes strict epidemiologists or statisticians will ask us to correct that by post like Bonferroni correction, meaning you are not applying the alpha error of p-value of 0.05. You have to divide that with the numbers of analysis, so that it is not is more strict. It may become if you're 0.05 divided by additional 20 analysis, so it becomes 0.0001, or 0.0001 for your result to be statistically significant, meaning it is not occurring by chance. Yeah. So when you apply too many analysis, significant result could happen by chance. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So so you want to be looking carefully at the result. If you should go back, let's say you go back to table 2, just to make sure that we are clear as what is the main descriptive outcome that the investigator want to show. Can you understand this table?
For me, yes. But the rest? What about the rest?
Okay. Meaning there's a from transition from before MCO to MCO lah.
Yes. This one is weight before MCO. This one, the group. And then this one is the changes. Yeah. This one is more clearer because they put N here beside the percentage. So I think the one that you confuse because of N not provided in the slide.
Yeah, so I think the table is clearer lah. Yeah. So they categorize, they classify the BMI before MCO, and they classify the BMI during MCO.
Yeah.
And they see who actually changed from underweight to still underweight or normal weight.
Yeah.
From normal to what, to that kind of thing. Okay, so does it make sense? So would you be able to say that majority did not experience a change in weight?
It's
They just stay
actually,
same in their category. Majority stays in their same category, isn't it?
yeah, no change. But
Yeah, you can see like
but 400
underweight
something
one.
for all three group is quite similar actually. 400 something, 400 something, and 400 something.
Yeah. Okay, so 85% still in the same category underweight, 94% still in the same category normal weight, and 85 again, almost 86% still in the same category overweight, 86% still in the same category obesity. So what actually changes probably the most in about 15% of the people in the study lah. Ya, 15% mengalami perubahan, experience changes in their weight the most lah. And the one who were likely to experience that change were those in the underweight and those in the obesity and also overweight. It looks like that lah, based on their self-report, isn't it?
Mhm.
15% of 1,000 is how many?
Around 100, 1,000,
100,
100 something,
150, right?
150 something.
150 to about 160, 170. And for that, their model can take in 15 variables. If it's 150, or if you think they have 1,300, all the in total. In total, they have 1,300 something, right? Yeah, so I think 50% they would have more than that lah. 150 and 30, about 200 lah. So they may take up their modeling, their multi-variable modeling could take up to 20 predictors lah. Yeah, so it's really quite a good sample size for the multi-variable modeling that they conducted. Okay, but I think this table, before you move any further, that you want to understand, yeah, so that the changes that we observe, the most is 15%, yeah, in the people, but also you want to know that the baseline, if you can show also table 1, then you can see that the authors realize that the online survey would not actually get you the representative samples of the populations. Right? You can see from here, the study samples was overrepresented by female. Kan?
Yep, 1,000 something, and male only 300 something.
And overrepresented by Chinese.
Yeah,
I suppose they were sending to their social network, isn't it? So
yeah.
the authors were Chinese, so I think they mainly they get Chinese respondents. Okay, the rest were quite, and also the educations. You can see probably the authors are university lecturers, so likely the respondent maybe students as well, university students.
Yeah.
So you can see it's very highly educated, and that is not to say is not good. Yeah, maybe because of this, the self-estimation of body weight was likely to be accurate lah. Yeah, if they are also highly educated, likely they have been waging themselves in the past, every monthly or every quarterly, that kind of thing. Very health conscious group of people. I think the rest were quite okay, except this few things. Yeah, so bear this in mind when you interpret the result. Okay, you may want to proceed, Sawana. Is there any questions from? No.
Any question?
Yeah, any questions?
No, so far no.
There's one comment, I think.
in the chat, if MCO happen again, we all might face obesity as well. Too many cooking show to try. I'll sure try if easy. Sure.
Think show, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not the result of the study.
No.
It's not the result of the study. Okay. As I think I said earlier, is that you want to learn from the study how they conducted the online survey, which I perceive as quite successfully done, except the study samples characteristic. So that table 1 show that it is not actually representative of Malaysian populations. Yeah.
Can I proceed to the appraisal part, Prof?
Sure, go ahead.
So my the slide is here. So go to the appraisal part. I actually, if you can see here, actually I followed this reference for this appraisal. The first one is the Joanna Brick Institute checklist question for cross-sectional study. You can find it online by Google. And second one is from the book, The Doctor's Guide to Critical Appraisal. So the question I took from here, and also I combined the question from this checklist to answer the appraisal. The limitation we have discussed before. So appraisal number 1 is about inclusion criteria. So the question is, were the criteria for inclusion in the sample clearly defined? So I put here unclear because only stated in the paper they are Malaysian adult aged 18 years old and above. So no exclusion criteria mentioned. And because the researcher do convenience sampling method, so the survey was disseminated through email and so on. So they have a kind of bias here actually, because the subject can choose either to participate or not to participate in the survey. So my comment is actually good result can be obtained since they have 1,319 candidates, but the data set can be biased due to selection bias from the beginning because the sample population maybe not representative of the target population in Malaysia. Number 2, it may be include response or volunteer bias. Maybe some of the individual, just now Prof. Chu mentioned that maybe the candidates participant were from IPT, from the university, so they have more knowledge about healthy eating, about the sleep pattern and so on. So they have some motivation, positive motivation as compared to other people that don't know about this one. So we call it response or volunteer bias. And other than that, I think it's about unknown co-founders. So because in the questionnaire, I didn't see that the respondent being asking about smoking, drinking alcohol, or taking certain medication. So this thing might give some effect to the to the answer by the respondent.
Okay, maybe Samana, to be fair, what would you be suggesting? Let's say, one of the participants here would then conduct a similar study in future. How a similar study like this could be done better in the future?
Okay, maybe I take item this one, unknown co-founder. Maybe they should put some exclusion criteria for those respondent, having chronic condition, taking some medication that not allow them to follow kuarter-kuarter separuh, ataupun tak boleh ambil air banyak ke, that kind of respondent. I think that's the best I can suggest.
How about the way that you said how to improve selection, how to minimize selection bias?
All right. Because they use convenience sampling, right? So you just ask anyone to be participated in your study, but maybe for future study you can get from the NGO, that cover all ages, that can cover, not only educated people, not only female and male. So maybe you need to change the sampling method, to be fair, not just focus on certain groups like that.
Okay. So knowing your investigators, you yourself, your networking, your social network are probably from the same ethnic background.
Yeah.
So probably you suggest that you want to go for different NGO or social groups,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But that would not guarantee at the end your samples will be representative, right? Is there any way to ensure the study samples could be more representative of the populations? And knowing that
Maybe
this is
go for
online
larger
survey,
sample size.
that may improve a bit,
Mm.
but if the proportion wise is not corrected, still you will not get the representative samples. Any suggestion from the floor?
Chu.
Yes, who is that?
Good morning.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the convenience sampling.
Oh, hi. Yang Berbahagia Director is here.
I get
Okay.
to join this one because currently I'm on quarantine, so I'm at home and there's no meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, is it if they were to do the not to do the convenience sampling, put some criterias and then match the thing, will that be helpful?
Sure. But knowing this is an online survey, and we know the online survey has its strength, and this is one of the very, very challenging of ensuring representativeness in an online survey. And I know that when you have to do online survey, then this part is really challenged. And I'm not sure how we can avoid not convenient sampling, because once the survey link is sent out, you really have no control. Except as what Savannah was. Yes, go ahead.
But we can pick and choose, even though it's the convenience sampling we send out via the social media. But we can segregate it and then select numbers from the response that we got.
Okay.
This survey was done at the peak of COVID, where everybody is at home.
During the period of MCO, I think at the end of
this is the peak. It's April, May, I think, 2020.
21.
So everybody is at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
yeah, thank you. So the other suggestion would be, you want to select those respondents. But I think what was Prof. Muhammad was saying is that if you already got responses back to you, right? So imagine the online survey, you collect them probably in Excel file. I'm not sure whether they use Google form or that, but you will have all the responded back. And the tricky part is when you say you applied selection. So let's say out of 2,000 that came in, how are you going to select? Would you be selecting based on what criteria? And that part is again very, very tricky. Applying the selections in the already answered respondent, already participated respondent. Okay, so I can tell you that there's no solution to this. Those who want to design the online survey, so you need to report the baseline characteristic, the social demographic characteristics very, very well, and the readers must always bear that in mind of the sample's characteristic when you interpret the result. There's no solution to it. That's why it's always like a juggling. Being a very convenient online survey would not actually ensuring that you can control who are the respondent, and this is always a challenging part lah. Yeah, and applying whatever selection, then you need to describe how when you come in to select, then there's another bias. How you select this and select that. But if you have a large sample size, we can actually suggest to investigator to do a propensity scoring matching. You apply the criteria of the population in Malaysia. Let's say now in year 2022, agak-agak, Malay is how many percentage, all that. You apply certain criteria, and then from that you get a subset of the data set out, and then only you proceed to analysis. That is possible. Yeah. And another way is bootstrapping. This is another advanced statistic. Not many actually can do it well. And if you need to do that, then you need to get a statistician in. Yeah, but again, the ethical issue is that if you collected like 5,000, you bootstrapping, and then you tinggal 3,000, 4,000. So all that 1,000 plus, you are discarded, you are not actually included in the analysis. So, it's like kind of a waste. And I told you earlier, right? My friend, I think, participated in the study. He said it's very quite lengthy. Feel like, very tired at the end. And you can imagine like 1,000 plus at the end that you discarded, tak masukkan in the analysis. So that part, again, you need to justify also. And again, you can say, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
What I have in mind is like, for example, the survey we got about 5,000, for example, yeah, and then we segregate it according to the ethnic group, and then we pick and choose from the ethnic group based on the ratio of the Malaysian population. But the selection from each ethnic group should not be biased. It should be like random and convenient. That one I think is possible. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's just the approach that available nowadays is either propensity score matching or bootstrapping to ask the computer to run the random selection, because we cannot do it. If we do it, then people will not believe us that we do it without bias. And that at the end, we still reduce the total samples. Let's say you say 5,000, it may reduce to just 4,000 or 3,000 something. So there is a kind of wasted responses, a lot. Then it will be very hard to justify to others lah. But these are all challenges present, that when we choose one study design, so you need to be aware of all these things. But how to improve is actually a very difficult question I posed to Savannah. Be aware if you choose one design over the others. So this will be, it's actually quite straightforward and convenient and cheap way. Or we have to do this online survey. You can't go and like doing an HMS and knocking the door or that. But having this easier approach, then you not have the high quality data lah. Yeah, and you see the samples of the study, then the results you may not be able to apply it. I will not be able to say these results are Malaysian populations, because they are not. Yeah.
And then after we have done that, the one that already segregate, and then we take according to the percentage of the population. But we can also do another analysis of all the 5,000, and then from there we get whatever outcome that we get, so that the rest are not being wasted. So, for example, we can also put the Chinese population, because so we cannot come up. We can get more out of it with that, even though it's a limitation at first, but. Eventually, we can actually get 2 papers.
I'm quite reserved about 2 papers. Maybe one good paper. And what you said is very, very good. Actually, a good paper will actually provide, like saying, this is the original data set, but we think it's not good representative, and we do a kind of a subset of it. So you actually show to your readers, this is the original whole data set, but we do this data set. And whichever you think is good or not, it's up to you, to readers, to interpret. Which is actually a better way. Then I think investigators could provide that in a supplementary material. That this original data set we have to analyze and found that it cannot be representative for the Malaysian population. So we do a bootstrapping or do another analysis to. We don't say aggregate lah. We say it's a random selection of a data set, a sub data set, and then we proceed to all the statistic analysis, which will actually get a better result. I'm sure, and it will be more generalizable to Malaysian population as it is now. So bear in mind that the result is unique to the study samples. Yeah.
Prof.
Yeah,
Chiu,
Samana.
I
Yeah,
have
who's that?
questions. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hi. So we are talking about the sampling is the sample population is quite homogeneous. Sorry, I'm Nurul from Department Nutrition, Nurul Husna.
Okay.
Okay. So we are talking about the quite homogeneous population because high educated and ethnicity. I just wonder. So when we do when we want to analyze the changes between before and after or during MCO, but we can also control for this, like control for education and income. And when we control, does it mean it is still like look valid because we have control for that? I don't know whether the
You,
paper has control for
mm,
that. I'm not sure.
oh yes, they do. They did that in a GRMM mixed modeling. There are actually questions on that as well. The reason for for using the advanced statistics is not clear in the paper. But answering your questions, I can only assume how they did it and why they did it. But statistically speaking, when you apply the adjustment, right, like say multivariable statistics,
Mm-hmm.
you only apply the adjustment as good as your samples can provide you. And you know that the study samples have disproportionate to your larger populations. However, how much statistical adjustment that you did, yeah, it cannot be providing you with the population's characteristics.
Yep.
You can only say the modeling has controlled for ethnicity, has controlled for weight, but you knowing the weight of the different weight ethnicity or the education level is hugely disproportionate from the populations. So you cannot apply the result to the populations because the sample itself is disproportionate in the first place. And
Right.
yeah, the statistical adjustment is quite a black box to us. You put in this let's say Chinese, Malay, Chinese, Indian, and other things, and what if another group they actually sample a very representative study samples, and if you can have that kind of study and you see their result, I believe will be different because the ethnicity that go into the models, the one here very disproportionate from your larger populations, and that another study have a samples that's quite representative of the larger populations, and the two models, if you were saying that already adjusted one, and then they should be coming out with the same effect estimate, isn't it? But I don't believe so. It will not, because the one that go in, the size, the numbers, the samples are different, although they have been adjusted for the effect of the ethnicity, but the different ethnicity, the different subgroup ethnicities are there. So they are actually, the effect in the models will be different. I hope I can find the kind of simulation study to prove this point. If there is any statisticians here, probably you can share your expertise because it cannot be the same, isn't it?
But they didn't control for educational level, I think. Just the ethnicity, sex, age.
Okay.
Yep, yep. So I have another questions beside this one. If we want to, for example, only select with certain criteria, so those that answered questionnaire and is not selected into the analysis and maybe not been considered for publication, for example, into the publication papers, isn't it still ethical, considered it as ethical to do that because we have wasted people's time because we yeah.
Yeah, that's why what I was saying. You as long as possible, you don't want to waste your responses. I mean, respondents who actually have spent their effort. Even I think the participant got a prize, a token of appreciation. If I remember correctly, of that participant, of the friend of mine who participated in this study, I think they were given a token of appreciation that posed to them, which was quite a nice gift. And I think the friends was quite happy with the gift. So if you have spent that much of investment in the study, and at the end, instead of using the whole data set, and you're not using the whole data set, so that's considered as a waste. there's a waste in your study investment and grant all that lah. So a good planning and design would minimize that as much as possible. Yeah, and if there's a lot of waste, then I agree with you. It is considered as a kind of a infringement on the ethical issue now. Because ethically we want the study to be most efficient in the balance of given the same resources, you want to achieve the highest efficiency and validity. And when that balance is out, then the more it is out, then the more unethical it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. Is there any other comments or in the chat box? Oh, it's about the link. Okay, Sawana, is there anything else?
Yeah. We continue. Right. All right. Next is about study design, subject, and setting. The question is the study design clearly stated? I said yes. Were the study subject and the setting described in detail? Yes. What was response rate? And I said no. So in the paper, it mentioned that cross-sectional study design was appropriately used to address the study objective. And stated in the paper also the study subject and the setting is 18 years and above says 3 ethnicity, sorry, there is another one, others. And then number 3, no response rate was reported in the study. So I think it's one of the, it's not compulsory, but it's needed to reported in the paper for cross-sectional study. So my comment is the sample population should be representative of the target population. In the paper, it did not mention any information about the location of the study being done or the location of the subject being recruited. So these discrepancies may indicate a flawed recruitment process, and as we discussed previously, and lead to selection bias, also as mentioned in previous slide.
To be fair, Sawana, this because it's online survey, we will not, the investigator will not be able to provide any response rate. The best is their estimations. Let's say they manage to send out to the whole nation, 32 million people, and you get 1,300 something. So if you calculate the response, it's going to be hugely low. Yeah. So online survey would not response rate would not be indicator that we can see. Yeah. Because again, there's a because of the design to be feasible and also the quality of the data may be jeopardized lah.
Any question? Okay. And then about the validity and reliability of the questionnaire. The question, were the outcomes measured in a valid and reliable way? I said yes. And has the author justified clearly the reasoning behind the chosen questionnaire? So in the questionnaire, they put 3 different questions. So the first part is eating pattern, where the researcher self-developed the question. Physical activity also self-developed, and sleep pattern, they use validated one named Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, PSQI. So I put the reference here and it's been validated in Malay as well. So for other 2, the researcher translate and back translated the questionnaire for consistency and pre-tested prior to data collection for clarity and understanding of respondent. So my comment here are the outcome measure have been objectively validated, that the study has shown to measure what it purposed to measure. And second one is the significant changes in lifestyle behavior among nation adult adequately reflect changes in the positive body weight change. Prof, do you have any comment about this?
I think, yeah, I mean some of the result as a whole was not different between what they suspect and the predictors and the weight change. But when they analyze the subgroup analysis, then they just show up there's a pattern to it, which most of the times are making sense. They were not something surprises. But be careful of subgroup analysis when there are too many of them being conducted. So still statistical significance could happen by chance. And the next thing you want to bear in mind is the difference, the sizes. Some of the sizes were actually quite small, like say just around 1, but some actually quite huge, 3, 4, but I'm not sure they are 5 or not. They are not up to 5, right? The most is 3 something, 3 point something. Yeah, so when the effect sizes, the odds ratio are not huge, again, the risk of happening by chance when there are too many of them conducted are there, are there. Okay.
All right. So next, about the confounding. So what strategies to deal with confounding factors stated? And yes, the researcher stated the confounding factor in the study. There were age, sex, ethnicity, and body weight status before MCO, and they did control the confounding factors, not at the time of designing of the study, but at the time of analysis of the study. So they used the adjustment using multivariate analysis, GLMM. So I put here that outcome relationship and specify the scale of their measurement, the relationship of measurement, lifestyle behavior, changes, and Malaysian adult with the body weight changes. So it's like Prof mentioned just now, if we go for sub analysis, then we can find the differences. So random individual variability in body weight changes also happen in the study. Anything?
Go on.
Right. And then for the sample size calculation, it did not mention in the study. So I put my comment here. Actually, I'm not too sure about the sample size calculation about this one. Maybe Prof can help with this. As just now you mentioned that 1,000 something is the great number for convenient sampling. So I put here, I'm not sure, but I think that if the analysis of percentage and average variability, variance of the mean is presented in the study, then we can conclude that the study subject 1,319 is well enough for the study. All right.
Okay, quick comment and response for me is that you remember the table 2 that I showed, we shared just now, that you want to actually estimate what would be the smallest, because I think the primary objective of the study is to see the predictors of weight change, right? Weight change here, they at the last analysis, the investigator divided into increase and decrease. So a good sample size estimation would be going from there. They would want to estimate how many would change their weight. The one increase and the one decrease, which one is the smaller? And just now we actually kind of post hoc actually showed they actually have very good sufficient sample size, because you also want to take into account the final modeling that the investigator plan to do, which is GLMM, and knowing that it's a logistic regression because of the outcome being categorical, and knowing that to run a robust logistic regression, they have to have a minimum sample size of 10 to 1 variables. So having like up to, I think, 180 to 200, so the models could take in up to 20 variables, which I think they did not include too many, and that actually make their modeling holds out. If you assess in this manner, and any papers when they conduct their multi-variable modeling in the logistic, and the ratio of the variables to the event rate is not in this kind of acceptable ratio, then you want to be careful. And because the effect size estimated could be just by bias and could be wrong and misleading. Yeah. And again, I can share the sentiments of the investigators, knowing that this is something probably is new, and at least I agree with Savana, is that they want to try to get to some extent of sample size estimations, to be kind of estimate their resources and how long they want to wait in recruitment, without knowing that. So, but luckily or fortunately, the investigator succeeded in recruiting sufficient numbers of sample size. If for our future study, you want to estimate, roughly, let's say you need about 1,000, and along when you do the data collection, you know that, oh, I haven't achieved sample size, then you want to prolong your recruitment period. Without knowing required sample size, then you just stop, when the time is out, that kind of thing. And you have done so much effort, and at the end you don't get sufficient sample size, then it's going to be a big waste, yeah. That's the purpose of sample size determinations, yeah. Okay, go on.
The statistical analysis, was appropriate statistical analysis used? So the researcher converted the response from quantitative data into categorical data for easy to tabulate and analyze. And in this paper, they use two types. The first one is descriptive statistic, which were categorical variable using data presented as frequency and percentage, and continuous variables, data presented as mean and standard deviation, and inferential statistics were used, chi-square, MGLMM, multi-generalized linear mixed model, and they put also random effect. Maybe Prof can help me to explain more about random effect, which they put into account when they calculate the analysis, and they they consider the potential confounding as age, sex, ethnicity, and BMI categories.
Okay, I think the best person will be the investigator themselves. From general points of view, is that a few things I'm not clear is that if they want to use GRMM, which is an advanced statistic, choosing the statistical test to do is scientific because of the certain features of the data. I can suspect the outcome variable here, the weight change, isn't normally distributed, and this generalized linear model could actually accommodate non-normally distributed outcome variable, but it is not mentioned in the paper which log-link function was chosen when they applied this modeling. And the second one is that after they have chosen this statistical test, once you applied it in the, if you can imagine SPSS, inside there are actually many selections of approaches to the end of this modeling, and all that selections are subjective. I repeat, once you have chosen GRMM, inside there are actually many more other steps in between. Like, I couldn't specify them, but according to what I learned from statisticians, many of the choices are subjective. You can just pick and choose what you like, but a good way of doing that is you report what you did. You choose this and that, the kind of selections in the modeling, you have to actually report it. And the last of it is you also want to report whether your model holds up all the statistical assumptions. Yeah, and that is being a complete reporting would require, and which is lacking here. I believe the investigators probably quite challenged in doing this. Maybe if you have chance to meet them, then you can ask them if you're really interested. Yeah. But this is a very good statistical test, provided you know how to do it and report completely how you conducted the modeling. Yeah. And another thing will be, Savannah, not sure whether you got the slide. Let me just jump ahead first. Is that the total numbers they collected is 1341, but the one that they included in the analysis is 1321, 1319. So there are some missing data. There's not many, but complete reporting also you would disclose. They were excluded because of missing data, or and how did you decide how many missing data were excluded, that kind of thing? Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
So the last one is results. Has the author expressed their result in terms of likely harm or benefit? What do the results show, and how do results affect the practice of healthy lifestyle behavior? So we can see that the data presented as odds ratio, the probability, and with 95% of confidence interval. The results show that there is association between practicing healthy lifestyle behavior with body weight changes after the confounding factor being accounted into. So actually, I think Prof has concluded that this result before. But my next question is, what is the strength of the association? So this one also Prof has referred to the paper, to the result part just now. Maybe I need some other participants to comment about this one. What do you think about the result? Is it give you any benefit for your daily life? Can you practice, or can you just reject the result, not suitable for you? Anyone want to comment about this result?
Puan Salwana.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually sorry, I tak tengok the paper at apa ni in detail, but just in general, I would think that this one dia tak ada buat apa tu, dia tak ada buat selection or exclusion criteria, right?
Yeah. No,
So,
no selection.
so it is like a individual person punya outcome, yeah, which can be very variable, and individual person too may not be the same as the others. So what I can gather is that yes, we have something, we have some data, we know what happened during the COVID, during the MCO. But I don't think it will be applicable to us individually. So that's my opinion. It's an additional knowledge, but kita tak boleh sangat nak apply back to us individually. That's what my opinion. What do you think?
I agree to some part of it, because during MCO, some of the individual, they lose their job, right? So when they don't have money, so they cannot plan for their meal, So at the same time, they get stressed, maybe get depressed. So this result cannot be applied to that kind of people. So some part of it, I agree. Yeah.
Not only dia tak ada duit nak makan atau tu, but also those like macam Prof Chu cakap tadi lah, the sample may be very healthy and very diet conscious population, whereas us, we may have other medical problem that also can contribute to the weight loss and weight gain. So that's what I mean, that dia tak seragam, and then we do not know what is the definition of this subject population. So kita tak boleh nak apply to our own self ataupun to the general population. That's what my opinion. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, to follow on the same note is that if you look at the result, there are actually many times analysis were conducted. So be careful with the occurrence by chance. The next one is actually many were expected, but quite a numbers were not expected, as you can see in their modeling. So there's a lot of things to actually explain. But I think if the investigator want to explain everything, that it will not be one paper, so because of that, we call it inconsistency. When you expect something to be, but some does actually as expected, but some actually do not be as expected. So that inconsistency is causing a downgrade of evidence quality, yeah.
But the Kiasumi, I wanted more paper to come out from this one.
Yeah, I think as we suggested, if the investigator could apply something to the data set, but disclose how they did it, they may come up with a better result. Yeah. Yeah. But in a sense, I mean, the expected result actually do actually show that Malaysians population, though this is not representative, do actually inform us a bit yeah, how if you don't agree with the final modeling, the multivariable one, the descriptive one would be very informative. Yeah, as we showed just now, table 2 and probably the table 3 as well. That will actually how these study samples behave during MCO. Of course, if you don't mind so much about Chinese, Malay, and Indian, you think that all Malaysians sama je, yeah, you live next door to each other, you semua behave sama je, then you can apply it in that sense lah, yeah. If you think cultural aspect is heavy, then you want to apply it with caution. Okay. Are you finishing?
Almost.
Okay.
Right, I skip this one. This one is just summarized that it's important to adhere to the reporting standard. So for cross-sectional is you can refer to the stroke statement. You can find it online. It's not is compulsory for you when you're reporting to the journal, your journal paper. So always and for this paper, I found that they follow most of the checklist item in the stroke except the sample size, but still can be published. And then this paper also, it has impact factor of 3.24 and Q1 ranking. And in the category multidisciplinary, it ranked at 29 over 128. So I think it's been published in a good journal. So next. General impression, what are the most important things you can learn from this study? I think nowadays changes in lifestyle behavior has gained popularity among Malaysian adults. So however, no data related to these changes in lifestyle behavior during MCO lockdown. So the author did a good job, to highlight these issues. What are the key findings? The study suggests that lifestyle behavior, practicing healthier cooking methods, daily lunch consumption, less frequency consumption of high-fat food, practice more physical activity, good sleep, and when you practice all of this, of course, it improve a bit on your, you have a lower risk of weight gain. So if you want to lose weight, practice all of this one. And then at the same time, practice suku-suku separuh pinggan, lunch skipping, and have more frequent physical activities, and also it improve your weight loss. So any question you can ask actually to help you to get to know the paper. This is actually the list. You can keep always asking a relevant question to yourself. This is just some examples, yeah? And that's all, Prof.
Thank you very much. Okay, my conclusion will be, to the authors will be the descriptive data, though is descriptive kind of a basic level. If that can be compared to, say, before MCO in the Malaysian populations, I think that would be very informative as well, because this was collected during MCO, and if you can compare to before MCO, I'm not sure whether there is such a big data study before on Malaysians' health lifestyle study. Then by just that simple comparison, you can see how people changes, and then only you proceed to these weight changes. Yeah. Okay, I think is there any burning comment or question from the participants? Thank you very much for being a very good participants, and also we are very happy to have our Bahagia director, Professor Muhammad Isa, with us.
Hi, Prof. Chu, Puan Salwana, Tania, for the good presentation. Actually, all the activities yang CRU organized, I've always wanted to attend, but I couldn't because ada saja meeting yang I need to attend at the same time. So hari ini I get to sit in. The numbers of participants is also good, 47 people there. But if we can get more people, then we will be more beneficial and also more interactive. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much to Prof. Chew and the CRU team. Thank you to Puan Salwana for the good presentation. I hope you're already at home dekat CRU, and I can foresee that you can contribute a lot to HPUPM also. Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you, Prof. Mama, for the concluding remark. Sawana, you want to introduce the next paper that we are going to?
I didn't prepare that.
Share the screen. We are going to appraise the next paper, so very interesting, from our local scientists. Just hold on for 1 minute if you're interested. If you are rushing for time, you can, feel free to leave. The next paper was published in the Lancet Global Health from a group of researchers from UM and TKM. I think this is one of the few papers that got published in the Lancet, all that. Yeah. The one that before was actually the Nipah virus thing, and this one they got it published in the Lancet, which I think must be of significant effort. I think so. It'll be good to appraise it. Have you got the papers?
This one, I'll share.
Yeah, just show the front page. That's all. Yeah, just to stimulate the flavor of you. But we are going to do it next month. Also on the 18th, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we are going to appraise this paper next month, 18th, at the same time. Yeah. Okay. Right. So that's all. Thank you very much. See you all again.